The topic for the current video is in-use stability study, key considerations. Welcome dear viewers and learners and professionals to this very informative video on in-use stability study. I have made a video in past regarding in-use stability testing on exhibit batches. So for considering the basics, you can visit that video and you will get basic understanding out of that video. The present video is for key considerations for in-use stability study. Let's start with the video. See, whenever there are formulations packaged in the multi-unit packs, that time the in-use stability testing is required. In-use stability testing is done at research phase and also for the regulatory approval on exhibit stage. In-use stability is required to be performed whenever there is significant change in the formulation or process. For formulations with multi-dose packs like tablet or capsules packaged in the bottles with different counts, the bottle may be glass bottle, HDPE bottle or PET bottle. The count may be like 30 tablets, 60 tablets, 90 tablets per bottle or 100 tablets per bottle, or it may be a bulk pack. The bulk pack may be of 500 tablets or 1000 tablets. These bulk pack may be for capsules. These bulk packs may be for other formulations. The multi-unit packaging or multi-dose packaging, like package into bottle for solutions, suspensions, for oral administration or for the parenteral administration, are required to undergo the in-use stability testing. Formulations which require reconstitution before use, like you might have saw the bottles containing powder in which the liquid is required to be added. That liquid may be water or other diluent. So for those type of formulations, in-use testing is required. The powder for reconstitution may be oral for oral administration or for the injectable or for the parenteral use. In-use stability is required to be performed for the prescription formulations and also for the OTC formulations which are packaged in the multi-dose containers. Now, one thing is required to be understood here is that if the tablet formulation is there and it is packaged in the blister type of packaging, then the in-use stability will not be required. Why? Because patient will open the one tablet blister and will take the dose, while the other tablets of the blister will not be exposed to the environmental conditions. That's why generally blister packaging is not required to be used for in-use stability testing, or blister packaging is not a multi-dose type of container. It is a unit dose packaging. So whenever there is unit dose packaging, that time in-use stability is not required and it is not performed. Now, why in-use stability is done? So the question is very clear that why there is a need to perform stability testing for in-use. This is required to study the quality of drug product during the use period. The formal stability is performed for determining the shelf life, storage conditions. Similarly, the in-use stability is performed for determining the in-use stability period. To study the stability of formulation during the actual use time. To decide in-use expiry period. For example, if you have a tablet formulation which is packaged in HDPE bottle with desiccant or without desiccant, and its shelf life is 24 months, then the same package will go to the market and it will be taken up by the patient. Patient will open that container and will start taking the dose. The dose may be twice a day, thrice a day, or once a day. Based on that, the tablets will be exposed to the environment. That means the container will be opened. That container will not be intact. So stability, formal stability study give you idea about the intact container stability or intact container product quality. So in-use is required. In-use stability is required to be done to check whether the product retains its quality or characteristics during the actual use period. If the HDP bottle contains 30 units and if you consider a tablet formulation with once a day dosing, then the patient will open the container every day, will take one tablet and close the container and keep it. So 30 days will be there for that in-use period. So that in-use expiry is required to be studied and tested. And if it is found that the product is stable for 1 month or more than 1 month, then you can give a labeling statement that use within 1 month after opening the container. Then it is required to decide the recommendation for storage condition when the product is in actual use. In use meaning after opening the container or after reconstitution of powder for oral solution or powder for oral suspension or powder for reconstitution for injection, and it may be in the clinical setting or it may be used by the patient. So key considerations I have enlisted here, like drug substance related, formulation related, microbiological related, packaging and container and count related, pack for the patient or pack for the pharmacy, storage related like storage condition, doses administration and duration of use. So now we will see one by one key consideration factors. First is drug substance related. So you have to understand the sensitivity of the API and the formulation after opening the container. The API and formulation may be sensitive to temperature, humidity, light, oxidation, or may be sensitive to the microbial contamination and microbial growth. Then you should consider the sensitivity of the formulation for physical parameters like appearance, color, sedimentation, reconstitution for liquid formulations, hardness for tablet formulation, or sticking to each other for the capsule formulation. Also, melting may be there, physical change may be there for creams and ointments or syrups. So anything can happen for the drug substance and for the formulation. So that is required to be understood and studied. Then formulation related, whether your formulation is single strength or multiple strength, whether your formulation is having break line or not. So for break line related tablet formulation, separate stability guideline is there, which involves the demonstration of stability of the tablets for 3 months at RT condition. Then whether the formulation is coated or uncoated, whether it is a tablet formulation or capsule formulation, or whether it is a soft gel formulation. Then number of packs and number of containers and number of counts. Same product can be packaged in the count of 30 tablets, 60 tablets, 90 tablets, 100 tablets, and depending on the posology of the formulation. Multiple container sizes. You can pack 30 tablet with 40 cc bottle. Also you can pack those 30 tablets in 60 cc bottle also. So that container size, container type like glass bottle is there or SDP bottle is there. So that consideration should be done while you go for the in-use stability. Then use of desiccants, fillers and stabilizers. So if your formulation is sensitive to moisture and you are using the desiccants, then during use or use period by the patient, that desiccant will not work much because the bottle will be opened and closed so many times depending on the dosing. Then also sometimes it is thrown out of the bottle during use. First of all, that desiccant is removed, it is thrown, and then the formulation is used. So that sensitivity is required to be understood and studied. Microbiological related. Sterile formulations like injectables are much more sensitive for the microbiological attributes. Powder for oral solution suspension. Then whether the formulation contains preservative or antimicrobial, what is the level of that and how is the activity. Whether the preservative or antimicrobial or stabilizer can prevent the microbial growth during the actual use. How is the container? Whether it prevents the microbiological contamination or microbial growth or not. Then container and closure. The container and closure design, container and closure type and material of construction. Number of doses units per bottle. You can pack the suspension bottle of 30 units or you can divide the doses and pack the solution or suspension for oral administration in more number of bottles so that you can decrease the in-use period or in-use dosing. For example, if there is a solution formulation with 5 ml dose per day and if the treatment duration is 30 days, then you can divide the dosing for 15 days or 8 days, or also you can have a bottle size for the 30-day treatment duration period. So these are required to be understood considering the microbiological concerns. Packaging, container and count related. So whether the packaging is enough to protect the formulation or not. What is the packaging integrity? Packaging type and packaging stability. The pack should be stable to protect the formulation during in-use. Pack ability for the protection. Then desiccants can be used in the bottle closure or bottle wall so that it will protect the formulation during in-use period. If you put silica gel pouch in the bottle, there are chances that the patient will take out that desiccant and throw it. But if the bottle wall contains the desiccant, that time that desiccant will protect the formulation throughout the in-use period also. These are some of the considerations related to packaging. Then protection by the packaging and labeling instructions. If you give clear labeling instructions, then there are higher chances that the label instruction will help to protect the formulation during in-use period. Then pack for patient or pack for the pharmacy. Sometimes the bulk packaging is done for transport also. Bulk packaging is done for repacking activity at some other sites. Sometimes bulk pack is done for pharmacy dispensing. So those things are required to be considered. Storage related and storage condition related instructions are required to be provided for the packaging for patient and packaging for the transport. Stability of split tablet if break line on the tablet. So this is one of the most important and critical consideration. Packaging for bulk transport, packaging for pharmacy dispensing should have different storage requirements and storage instructions, because packaging for the patient is done for use by the patient at home or at clinical setting, while the packaging for pharmacy dispensing is done for pharmacy dispensing, and that pack will be handled by the pharmacist or trained healthcare provider. So those things are required to be critically understood. Who is the end user for that pack, whether it is a patient or whether it is a healthcare provider. Then, as I have mentioned, the packaging integrity, packaging type and packaging stability should be there. The protection by labeling instructions. Now, doses administration and duration of use. What is the total duration of treatment? Number of doses per pack or per container. If you increase the doses of units, or for example tablets per bottle, that in-use period will increase. Doses administration is by patient or it is by the health care provider, that is required to be understood, and based on that the in-use stability should be done and labeling instructions to be given. Storage by patient or healthcare provider in the clinical setting. Duration of use, then treatment, chronic use or intermittent use or as required use. So if the medicine is for chronic use for a longer time, whether the treatment is intermittent or whenever required type, that is required to be critically considered. Some of the formulations are used by the patient at home whenever there is a need, but some formulations are used by the patient on a regular basis. So these posology, dosing administration and treatment related points are very critically understood and very critical to understand and required to be evaluated whenever you are going for the in-use stability. Now, the basics we will see when to do the in-use stability. What if the stability study fails? Significant change during the in-use period. So generally in-use testing is required to be performed onto the final prototype formulation in final container closure system at a research phase and also at the exhibit stage or for the regulatory filing. Then what if the in-use study fails? In-use study failure is considered as a significant failure, and based on the product type and nature of the molecule, it is reviewed by the regulatory authority. Then significant changes during the in-use period. As per the regulatory requirement, the product should be stable during the in-use period. Any deviation will indicate the product is not stable. The in-use storage conditions should be mentioned onto the label. In-use period should be mentioned onto the label. Labeling and storage instructions like store in the original container or protect from moisture or store the open bottle or store after reconstitution, that storage is required to be indicated. For example, if you are making a powder for injection, that powder for injection is stored at 228 degree or at 25 degrees Celsius at room temperature, and if it is required to increase the in-use stability period, you should study the storage period and storage condition, that is temperature, and humidity after reconstitution also. And you can give the different storage recommendation after reconstitution, like store the reconstituted solution or suspension at 2 to 8 degree. So these are some of the things which are required to be understood. I have made a separate video on in-use stability testing on exhibit batches. The link I have provided here. You can go to Pharma Learning in Depth channel on YouTube and search this video so that you will have good understanding about the in-use stability testing. Then in-use is also required to be performed onto the different formulations, maybe cream, ointment, solutions, suspensions, or powder for oral solution and suspension. That may be for oral use or for the injections. Some examples I have included here, like store at room temperature, protected from light and moisture, replace lid tightly after use, use the content within 14 days after opening the container. Then store the reconstituted suspension below 15 degree, use within 7 days of reconstitution. So this is the in-use stability period and in-use labeling instructions. See here, store below 30 and protect from light and moisture. This is 30 degrees Celsius for intact container, while after reconstitution it is stored at below 15 degrees Celsius. So these are some of the instructions. I hope you might have got good understanding out of this video, and I will be happy to see your comments, to see your questions, and I will try to answer those questions very soon. And also, you should study the in-use stability guidelines by EMA and USFDA. Also, ICH guidelines are there for in-use stability. Also, I recommend you to watch the video on my channel, that is in-use stability testing for exhibit batches, and you will have good understanding about the topic. Thank you for watching the video, and let's meet you soon with such kind of informative video.